All right. In all seriousness, I do have some injury updates. Unfortunately, I do not have good news, but it has nothing to do with Jermaine Waller. Dean Ferguson and Devin Hunter are out for the season. They'll have season-ending surgeries. Dean on his shoulder and Devin on his knee. So Dean had been battling through numerous injuries throughout the entire season. Quite frankly, just an incredible example of perseverance. Basically halfway through this season. I mean, it seemed like every week was a new body part for him, and this is just one bridge too far, and so he'll have surgery here shortly. Devin obviously, has been through a lot, and his just I believe it was on a special teams play, hurt his knee, and we'll have surgery, and we'll end both those guys' seasons. So there's that update. We have a tremendous challenge this week with Syracuse coming to town. This is a team that's found their identity. In my opinion, Dino's been known as the guy that throws the ball around the park, and they have really found, in my estimation, at least the last several games, found their quarterback, and certainly have found their tailback, and they are running the football as well as anybody in America. They've lost 3 games by, I think, 3 points apiece. Just really heartbreaking, tough games. They have kind of dipped into the rocky long tree of defensive coordinators, having coached against Rocky and his scheme in the Mountain West Conference for many years. Tony White's done a great job in a short time with their defense at Syracuse, and they provide a lot of problems schematically and personnel-wise. So despite the difficult news with Dean and Devin, our guys had a great workout yesterday. We're anxious for this challenge as Syracuse comes into town.
Since Mike's not here, I'll ask you, do you have any updates on Jermaine Waller, his status?
I really don't. I know Jermaine will be out there if he can. I don't think this is a long-term issue. It's just I don't know how short-term either.
We asked you after the game thoughts on the offense or anything that sticks out in your mind with a couple days removed from that. Any clarity on the offensive issues or things that you feel like needs to be shored up?
Well, I would say a couple things. One, there's a lot that we need to do better, starting with coaching and trickling all the way down to our execution level. Pitt is provides a unique challenge. You know exactly where they're going to be virtually every snap, and they force you into playing a different style of football. And if you can't play it, it's going to be a long day. And we didn't play it well enough to give ourselves a chance. And the approach and the attack was merited, but ultimately the execution, left plenty to be desired. So we got to find a way to get our guys, playing with some confidence. The way we played early in the year, which wasn't prolific, but it was certainly confident. And we got to find a way. You've slowly watched over the last several weeks a little shift there in the confidence level. Our defense is increasing, and offensively it's decreased. So we've got to find a way to kind of get that back the way it was. Like I said, early in the year, it wasn't like we were racking out 50-point games early in the year, but there was just a difference in, our I guess, confidence or competitive fire.
You mentioned after the game about taking a look at your approach, the way you approach the Pitt game. After looking at it, was there anything that stood out to you about how you approached the Pitt game?
Well, I don't know that it was. We approached it the way we needed to approach it to go win the game. I just think we need to continue to get our create our identity and find a way to be more efficient on the offensive side of the ball. And my role in that I've had several conversations with several guys on our staff on both sides of the ball with what I have been doing and what I need to be doing and how I can help that out, and we'll continue to have those conversations through the week.
All right, let's go out to Zoom. Hank?
Hey, Justin, I know you've said numerous times that negative feedback from the crowd towards you doesn't, it just kind of comes with the program. Do you have to address that with the kids to make sure it doesn't affect them?
Oh, I mean, I just told our guys this, like, listen, whether that's the crowd or your cell phone or whatever, but first of all, it's my job to take that, okay? They shouldn't, it should not alter anything with them. Okay? That's my job, to try my best to shelter them from any of it, and take that. And I firmly believe this, and this is easier said than done, but I really do believe this, that every day we wake up, we have complete control of our attitude and our effort. And other circumstances or other people's feelings or other people's comments or other people's actions should never affect our attitude or our effort. And I want that point made crystal clear to our players. And regardless of circumstance, there's no good reason for us not to do our best with a great attitude. And I try my best, and sometimes I have to take my own advice, but I try my best, particularly on the attitude part, but I try my best to do that. And, regardless of, emotions and feelings get in the way of our attitude and our effort. But ultimately, if somebody else's actions or somebody else's words affect how we go about our daily life and our daily business and ultimately our attitude and our effort, then that problem lies within us, not within that person. I tell our guys all the time, if the way other people, and I'm not talking about necessarily our fans, I'm talking about anybody, affects your attitude or your effort, then that's a you problem. That's not a them problem.
Are you pleased with how the players have kind of adapted to that approach and that mentality?
Yes, I am. I think they've done a good job.
Thank you.
David Teal?
Justin, have there been any common threads in various games this season, short yardage problems for you on offense?
Yeah, we haven't been very good. I mean, we haven't been able to either get enough movement to plunge it out or hit the hole hard enough or skinny enough. We haven't been very efficient.
Then you mentioned Syracuse kind of finding its identity on the offensive side. For those of us who haven't seen a lot of Sean Tucker, just some highlights here and there, describe his running style and the challenges that he presents defensively.
Well, he hits the hole hard. He appears to me on film to have a great lower body. Like he's hard to tackle. He kind of has that slashing low pad level punch a hole in the run or in the line of scrimmage style. And he's been hard for everyone to tackle. He's hard for Clemson to tackle. He's hard for everybody they play to get him on the ground. And he has great acceleration. When he sees a crease, there's no doubt or hesitancy in his mind. When he hits it a million miles an hour. And they've got Schrader back there playing quarterback, who's a threat to run the ball. He's a large, big, athletic kid who's a threat to run the ball and has done a pretty good job throwing it and taking care of it the last several weeks. So they've kind of hit their stride.
And then one other one on Syracuse. Cody Roscoe leads the league in tackles for loss from a defensive end position. Is he kind of the ringleader of that group? I would say,
I've always had a lot of respect. I don't know Coach White, but like I said, the scheme that I have coached against many, many times with Coach Long, whether it was at New Mexico or ultimately at San Diego State, is it's kind of, it has this foundation, but it changes either year to year or with various people that have kind of come out of the rocky long tree, and it can it cause you a lot of problems. There's a lot of movement, some different looks. They kind of base it in a shell and then can rotate and move at the snap. That creating some one-on-ones and creating some confusion, but it doesn't work if they don't have players, and they've certainly got those as well.
Mike Barber.
Hey, Justin, if I can take you away from the field for a minute. The name, image, likeness stuff, and I know it's all evolving and you're just kind of learning about how it's going to work. The fact that you guys are in a relatively rural market, you don't have pro teams to compete with, is that an advantage, do you think, to your guys in being maybe bigger fish in a smaller pond? Or does it hurt you that you're not in a bigger city just from an NIL standpoint?
Well, I think the brand, the Virginia Tech football brand, is what helps us as much as anything. And obviously there's some limitations there in how you're allowed to present yourself. But obviously we all know they associate the kids with Virginia Tech football and in the state. And so I don't know that the location is a drawback, because we are in a little bit more rural area, because our alumni base by and large are in the cities. So those are the people. That's a large section of our donor base live in those cities. So whether your school's actually geographically located in there or not, I don't think plays a huge role in it.
And then you mentioned at the onset, obviously the defense playing with good confidence right now, the offense trying to get that confidence back. In terms of game day on the sideline, are you pleased with the mentality, the energy from your offense, kind of just in terms of being engaged in the game, or do you see guys kind of maybe hanging their heads a little?
No, I mean, I think the guys that are playing in the game and playing huge roles, and when I see they've it doesn't mean there's not frustration, but no, I've been good with their effort in everything that we've asked them to do.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Andy.
Justin, you obviously lost a pretty good talent in Christian Darrisaw from the offensive line last year, but it has the inability to push people off the line and sort of create those holes surprised you, given the veteran group that you had coming back for most of the line?
Yeah, a little bit, quite honestly. And I would say this, we played a little better than I felt. We played a little better last week on the offensive line than I felt we did after the game, after watching the film. Not good enough, obviously, but I'm just saying, I felt a little better after watching the film that it's kind of heading in the right direction. But I expect us to be pretty good. And I tell you, James has played a bigger role in that in the running game than maybe I thought at the time of his injury. He's just everybody talks about him catching footballs, but he's just a really good C-gap blocker, which elongates the edges and was a huge part of what we're doing. So I think that's played a little bit of a role in it. But in short, to answer your question, particularly when you think about how we started the year, being able to run the ball, I have been a little disappointed. Yep.
You said afterwards, at halftime, you sort of raised hell at the team, how you coached 10 years ago. Did that guy make an appearance on Sunday? Is that something that you'll bring back, or how do you think about that going forward?
Well, I don't know that things change quickly. I don't know that 10 years ago flies anymore. And it's amazing how much has changed in a short period of time. So I don't know that that's a good idea every day, but I do think, and not manufacturing it for no reason. That's not what I'm talking about. But, we talked a little bit about that on Sunday. So, no, it didn't show up on Sunday, but I talked openly about it on Sunday. And, making sure that we're demanding of each other, and that's certainly going to be there.
Couple more. Aaron on Zoom.
Hey, Justin, not a judgment in any way. I'm just curious. I don't know how common it is across all of college football, but bringing players in on Sunday as opposed to, I don't know, giving them a day off on Sunday. Is that something you've always done? Is that, and just what's the reason behind just kind of getting that back to work as opposed to getting?
It's a little muffled. I'm going to just kind of shake your head up and down. I think you're asking me about our Sunday practice versus Monday practice. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Why you practice on Sunday as opposed to taking a day off?
Well, there's several reasons for that. It's actually a good question, and people do it differently. That's the way we've done it every place I've ever been, except for 1 year early in my career. We gave the kids off Sunday and brought them in on Monday, and I thought it was miserable. First of all, I like the kids having a day to just go to college. Okay, like on Monday, they know they're just going to school, and give them a chance to, for a short period of time, be a normal student. Getting the kids in on Sunday puts a previous game to bed. And we still get quality work. We practice for about an hour. We lift and we run and we meet. And we still get quality work on the field of fundamentals in special teams, offense, and defense. It puts the previous week to bed. It gets everybody in the building. We eat dinner together afterwards, win or lose. Now that we have the new facility that we're able to do that, it allows us to see everybody. Sometimes if things don't go well, having 24 hours to be in your feelings at your house, not a good thing. And getting everybody up there, getting an assessment of where we're at medically, getting guys moving around, working towards the recovery of their body, heading in towards the next week, I think has been really beneficial. Coming in on Monday and addressing a game that happened on Saturday, as a coach and as a player, you've already moved on. But having to go back through all of that on Monday, I particularly didn't enjoy. You can do a little bit more practice-wise on Monday if you don't do anything on Sunday for the next week, but still not a lot more. So that's why we've always done it. The challenge for us has been moving to morning practice. The Tuesday morning, there's a big difference for a coach between having a Tuesday morning practice as your first practice and a Tuesday afternoon practice. You've got to be much further along in your game plan much earlier in the week if you practice in the morning time.
You mentioned, you want your players to play with confidence. And I think we all operate better in our jobs when we're confident in what we're doing. I'm curious, just for yourself and your staff, when guys go through struggles. Last year, Justin went through some struggles. Brad had some struggles. Do you have techniques that, or words, even to yourself, just about how to stay confident and go out there with sort of a forceful mentality?
Well, I think, with the staff, I always kind of look at it as opposite. Like whatever everybody else feels, it's my job to be the opposite, right? So when everybody's riding high, it's kind of my job to kind of bring them back down to earth. And when everybody's in the tank, it's my job to kind of try and inspire or pump them back up. And no matter what anybody says, we all need somebody to the person that's in charge of it all still needs somebody to talk to, and somebody to bounce things off of, or even maybe just vent a little. But I certainly have that at home. She does an awesome job, and she kicks me in the tail whenever I need to be kicked in the tail as well. So but yeah, I think there's a little bit of, anybody can read a book and regurgitate the information in the book, right? We can all read a book on leadership and then give a presentation on it. That doesn't really mean anything. But the challenge is when you don't feel good and the cards are stacked against you and things don't seem very positive. Can you draw on those things and try to live those things? And can you try to actually be or actually live the way that you're trying to get other people to live, right? If not, it's pretty hypocritical. So sometimes you need a little self-talk to check yourself a little bit, make sure you're trying your best to live the way that you're asking young people to live, because you know it'll benefit them in the long run.
Hank, did you have another one?
Yeah, I do. Justin, coaches play loud music to get a team ready for playing on the road and all that stuff. Is there anything you guys can do if the conditions aren't similar going into a game to prepare for wind conditions and that kind of stuff, especially in the passing game?
No, not that I know of. I mean, we've gone to great lengths to make sure we're prepared for rain. Every Thursday we work wet ball drills. If there is a chance of rain, we work it during the week. But I don't have a good answer for simulating wind. We've got some big fans in the indoor, but I can't feel them. Getting outside the most, when you can, I think is important. I guess the one thing I would answer to that, Hank, is a lot of times when you have a beautiful, nice indoor, if the weather's just a little bit off, your inclination is to go inside. And going ahead and practicing in the elements, I think, is beneficial in the long run. It may not be that exact week, but I think in the long run, that is beneficial. And we get, plenty of cool, windy days here, so we get plenty of work outside.
In a lot of stadiums, it seems like the wind swirl makes it even more challenging. Do you guys ever practice in the stadium just to be more experienced with that?
We do. We scrimmage in the stadium. We practice in the stadium occasionally during fall camp. We do our walkthroughs in the stadium on Fridays when we play at home. We practice in the stadium during the bye week. So, yeah, we do get in there.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.